We are a nonprofit organization of volunteers with a mission to ignite and sustain artistic appreciation for all ages throughout La Miranda. And currently we have over 10 active programs, and our creative board members have pivoted quickly from face-to-face events to virtual programs. And I would also like to tell you on that note that Art Embraces Words will be coming to you 2 more times before the end of the year. So please do check all the dates and the times on our website, which is lamirandaarts.org. And Embraces Words brings together the written word and the art world. And writers paint images with words, artists tell stories with color, and together they enrich our community. Before we begin, I would like to direct the audience attention to the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. So if you just take a look at the bottom of your screen, you might have to move your cursor. You will see a little Q&A area that you can press. If you have a question while you're listening to the writers and the artists here, please type your question in the Q&A area. We will present that question then to the speaker after they have finished their presentation. I think we've got everything. So thank you again, Laura, and thank you for being with us today. Oh, also, yes, somebody did ask about the video, who said they would like to see the video. We can't run it right now, but we do have on our website, when we have Laura's information up, it will have links to actually 2 videos that you produced, one with your friend and then another one, and you'll be able to see a lot of her art in those videos. So definitely come to the website and check that out. All right, and you're welcome, Sarah. Okay, and next up we have our final author, who is Michelle Hoffman of Orinda. She is a master coach in life and business. In her first book, Life Worth Living, she specializes in helping widows and sole parents reestablish their lives after loss to live a full and happy life. Michelle will read from her new book, The New Management Blueprint: Spark Talent to Ignite Winning Teams and Create Valuable Results. And here is Michelle.
Thank you so much, Denise, and thank you to the La Miranda Arts Council for finding the intersection between art and words, because of course, as we were speaking earlier, collaborating in the way that we perceive life and art is the way that we live. And that's really how I've chosen to write books, this being my second book, bridging the gap between personal and professional life and going from being an individual contributor in an organization or as a leader of any kind to becoming a leader of other people, and how to then transfer that inspiration to be a leader to help then catapult, find the value and promote other people to see all that they can become. So what I'm sharing with you today is actually the opening of the New Management Blueprint, which I wrote as this pandemic fell upon us. And the intro really is inviting the reader, the audience, the listener to understand and demonstrate that I know where you're at and where you're coming from. So with that, I will share with you the opening to the New Management Blueprint. Creating Value in the Opportunities Change Creates, Chapter 1. It was a Friday afternoon when Amanda received a phone call from her manager's boss, Melinda. Amanda could barely breathe. She knew this woman only because Melinda spoke at big company meetings, and Amanda had seen her in the office, typically very occupied in deep conversation or looking at reports as she was walking through the halls. Why wouldn't Amanda be speaking with her own manager? Would her manager be with her in this meeting? Was she in trouble? She had not done anything out of line. Amanda straightened the papers on her workstation, touched the mouse on her desk, and woke up the screensaver on her computer, showing her golden dog playing in the water at her parents' lake house last summer. She smelled the morning's cold coffee in her cup and took a big gulp, hoping it would bring her some courage to face whatever she was about to face. She wondered if her colleagues could see what was going on with her. Could they hear her heart racing? One of her team members asked her a question about a document that she was trying to access, and Amanda stopped to direct her where in the shared file she would find it. Amanda walked past her manager's office. It was empty. Amanda had brought reports to Melinda's office before, so she knew to take the elevator up to the 3rd floor and go left past the marketing team's offices. Amanda stopped to connect with Melinda's assistant, who looked a little peaked, yet maintained quite a professional appearance as she escorted Amanda into the large, handsomely decorated corner office filled with awards, certifications, and trophies, and pictures of Melinda's wedding and a family picture during a whitewater river rafting trip. Congratulations, Amanda. We'd like to offer you a promotion to management. You'll be leading other people now. Amanda left that meeting with mixed feelings. She was walking on air with a knot in her stomach. She was honored and so excited because she was given exactly the promotion she had hoped for, but not exactly how she hoped it would go. Evidently, there had been layoffs, and her manager was one of the employees laid off. Amanda was promoted to managing the 4 people on her team who until this moment had been her peers. Now she reported directly to Melinda and would participate in the manager's meetings once a week in the large conference room upstairs. Melinda provided her with high-level insight that made Amanda wonder if she was prepared for this responsibility. The layoffs were a result of the company not making revenue goals. They were making an effort to reduce expenses. Amanda was told she would need to do more with less. Like the rest of the company, she had been brave enough to ask Melinda what that meant. Her instructions were to streamline processes. She would need to increase revenue by increasing the volume of the size of sales and reduce expenses to increase the profit margin. Melinda added she was concerned about high employee turnover of people leaving to larger salaries in competitive jobs because it's expensive to recruit, hire, and train new employees. Amanda thought she had a clear understanding of the company's goal. She was glad she was not laid off like her manager. Now that she was a manager, she was worried if she was up for the job. She wondered if she had the skills and really understood what was expected of her. She was too intimidated by Melinda to ask for more details about how she would be doing all the things that were just asked of her. And she no longer had her manager to ask questions for clarification. Amanda wondered if she should have gone to business school to take on this job. Melinda said she was welcome to come to her with questions, but Amanda knew Melinda was really too busy to be available for this level of questioning. Melinda must have seen the fearful look on Amanda's face as her parting words were, "Learn from your peers." And then Melinda's body language totally changed. She ended the conversation abruptly by picking up the phone to start another conversation and returning to work on her computer. Feeling as if an invisible wall had just separated her from Melinda, Amanda understood that the conversation had ended. She paused for an uncomfortable moment, opened her mouth to ask a question, and realized it would fall on deaf ears. So she got up and left Melinda's office. As she walked out, Melinda gruffly asked her not to say anything until they made a company-wide announcement at the end of the day, at which time all the changes would be made public. And oh, Melinda added, congratulations on your promotion. Welcome to management. Amanda returned to her desk with her neatly arranged papers, her cold coffee, and her adorable dog, Screensaver. She tried not to make eye contact with anyone because she hadn't figured out how she was feeling about all the changes that had just occurred. Instead of being excited about a management promotion, Amanda felt fearful. She was afraid of failing because she had never managed people before, and she was worried she wouldn't be able to get the results she needed to excel in the role. She was certain her group would be watching her every move, looking for a reason to find flaws in her performance. How would she figure out her exact role as a manager in this organization, given the current circumstances? Suddenly, she questioned if she was management material. How would she figure out her leadership style? And would it be effective in this situation? She was getting anxious. Would she be able and capable of getting the result the organization needed to prevent further loss? Who would she go to for advice and mentorship? How would she gain the respect of her direct peers and reports? Would she know the right thing to do and when to do it to prove she was worthy of the role by adding the value the company needed to make the difference? Will she have to give up everything else in her life to focus on her career? Amanda's head was spinning. At 3 p.m., there was an all-company meeting called. Everyone stood in the main conference room. Amanda felt her heart beating and her palms began to sweat as Melinda announced a few promotions, including Amanda's. When her name was announced, it felt like laser beams were going through her. She thought it would be enthralling to be promoted to management, but she stood petrified. She gulped and had to remind herself to breathe. She took a breath as calmly as she could through her nose so as not to appear as if she was about to gasp and run for her life. She looked at her old friends, who were now her direct reports. They looked at her with surprise, wonderment, jealousy, disdain, and acceptance. She looked at other managers in the organization who nodded approval. She took another breath and looked for the others who had also received promotions, and she felt part of an elite team. They mouthed congratulations and welcome. Her exuberance was cut short. Melinda continued to explain that 10% of the company had been laid off. Everyone scanned the room to see who was missing. Melinda continued, the company was relying on each employee to step up to make sure they met revenue goals to prevent further losses. The company, she knew, was doing the best it could, but in addition, the majority of the workforce would be deployed to work from home. Each person would be contacted by an HR representative to guide them through the process and connect them with someone in IT who would then help them get set up to work securely from home starting Monday. Amanda was stunned. Everyone was stunned. This opened up a whole new line of questions. How could she manage a team remotely? She wouldn't even be in the same office as them. She would have to figure out a way to reinforce what needed to be accomplished by when to maintain the momentum on her team, despite the distractions she and her teammates would experience with roommates, spouses, kids, or pets in their homes. She was worried about her presentation skills and ability to facilitate meetings in person. It would be even more challenging to conduct meetings remotely. She questioned if she could figure out how to be herself and lead a team. Would she be able to handle employee conflicts without saying the wrong thing? How would she know what to do? Who would she ask for help? Amanda's grandfather used to say, extraordinary times call for extraordinary leaders. Amanda was excited to be a leader as a manager. She was ready to figure out how she will become the manager who truly makes the difference. She realized she needed a blueprint of what she was building. To discover how Amanda and you, if you're in a leadership role, can create value in the opportunities change creates, you're welcome to a gifted copy of my best-selling book, The New Management Blueprint. And all you need to do that is go to newmanagementblueprint.com and you can download a copy to find out how Amanda handled the situation and how businesses today are working cohesively and successfully to build all of the revenue momentum and make the goals, even during a pandemic and working from home. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. That was interesting. That was good. I wanted to ask you, the intro to your book sets a scenario of a woman getting promoted to management. And this can be a really scary thing for a first-time manager. And I haven't downloaded your book yet, but I wanted to see if you could elaborate a little bit on how this opening relates to the rest of the topics throughout the book. Do you do them in story form? Or do you, how is that? How does that work out?
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Denise. In fact, this is the book was written because people who have reported to me have moved into management roles. Either I promoted them into management roles or they've been promoted to management opportunities. And they've looked to me as a mentor and as a guide to all of the things that I teach in the book. Some of them are storytelling, and a lot of it is really a way for you to lead, to lean into who you truly are and find out where your strengths are, and then stretch your strengths. And as hard as it is, trust me to help you identify where your weaknesses are and then strengthen those weaknesses. And one of my favorite lessons that I teach is, just like organizations have a board of directors, you too can have an advisory board. You don't have to be the expert on all things. However, you can find expertise at your fingertips wherever you need it. So the whole book is all about leaning into who you are as a manager, what kind of leadership style is going to work in a specific circumstance, how to avoid imposter syndrome and ensure that you actually have what it takes to do the job. Do you understand what the job is, so that you can focus and make the right decisions at the right time and do the right thing right, which I would call diplomacy. I've been invited into organizations to help their managers align all of the efforts and strengths and values that the employees under the manager's report are all in alignment, making success inevitable. Mm-hmm. And I've done that in my professional career, and that's why I'm now opening up this book as an opportunity to invite me into an organization to do the same.
I see. And would you say that this book is geared then mostly towards women, or it could be broad spectrum, men and women?
I am very inclusive in the way that I work with people and employees, and it's really very specifically designed to an organization that is open to being inclusive and to understand that we are the value, the skills, the talent that we bring to the table. It's open to the right skill and the right position.
I see. Great. And did you self-publish, or did you go through a distributor or publisher? How did it work out for you as a writer?
So I never anticipated myself as a writer of this kind. I always wrote professionally for the organizations and for clients that we had. My first book, Life Worth Living, I wrote as a love letter to a woman who had gone through a very similar life change as I did. And once I had figured it out, I realized there was literally no guide to how to pull your life together after a major transition, changing companies, changing communities, inviting a partner into your life, letting go of a partner from your life, inviting children, freeing them up, springboarding them. All of these things are major life events. The pandemic has caused all of us to have major life changes. And when those happen, there are literally 7 things to address personally, to make sure that you're stabilized and moving forward. So I wrote my first book. It was picked up by a publisher after I posted it on Amazon. Oh. So that one's now, you've got the ebook, a print book, and an audio book that are available Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Powell, all the indie bookstores. And the New Management Blueprint is available in ebook or in print copy on Amazon.com. And I would be open to my publisher picking it up, but at this time, I've done it on my own. And that is how the world is working in this day and age. You can totally do it on your own.
That's great advice. Thank you so much, Michelle. And this concludes our event today.